We have been looking at how group-based collaborative learning impacts upon the self-efficacy of EALD students in the classroom in Stage 5. Our group consists of Gilly, Luke and me, Benedict. Through this learning, we have worked individually on sub-questions of this research topic, which through this video we are bringing together in the answering of the broader research question. Luke has been examining what works for EALD students in collaborative settings and how this impacts self-efficacy, approaching this from the perspective of ESL teachers. Coupled with this, Gilly researched what EALD students' self-efficacy was like, approaching this through surveying the perspective of students. I have been researching the impacts of collaborative group learning and the impact on the self-efficacy of EALD students. The aim of this is for us to operate as a community of practice whereby these individual components will be synthesized, and through this video we will explain our findings through our shared literature review, data analyses, and propose our intervention based upon this information. As well as this, we will pay consideration to ethical considerations and the data collection and analysis of this intervention. Through the synthesis of literature, it has highlighted both teachers and students perceive group work learning to be of benefit. Such learning leads to the development of social capabilities, providing students with increased self-efficacy. This then leads to a growth mindset developing, which literature highlights is paramount to success. This is an attribute teachers should endeavour to develop within the classroom. EALD students are benefited through collaborative settings, with this increasing academic performance and the self-efficacy of students. This is important considering EALD students rate themselves lower in self-efficacy than non-EALD students. The success of collaborative learning is reliant upon teachers providing clear goals, high expectations, and using effective scaffolding and modelling to support students. Furthermore, when implemented correctly, this leads to a more student-centred learning than a classroom without group learning, which tends to be more teacher-oriented. Collaborative settings allow for students to develop self-confidence and self-efficacy enabled through the innate scaffolding that is provided through group work. Group learning provides a positive learning environment which is less anxiety-provoking, promoting the full participation of EALD students. Students also perceive such learning to be beneficial, with a study revealing a desire for further group work learning. There is a need to promote equal participation of students, with each group member's participation being fostered, without which dependencies will be developed which will negatively impact the self-efficacy of students. This means that there is a need to ensure distributed leadership in the group where students have agency in the learning, meaning there is a need to ensure teachers have instructional strategies towards these ends. Heterogeneous grouping is also fundamental in the learning, along with the teacher acting as a facilitator that can support students in learning scenarios and ensure success. The process of working collaboratively leads to students developing interdependence, enhancing academic and social outlooks. This leads to heightened engagement, the attainment of language skills and oral literacies, all through collaborative learning settings. Environments need to be conducive to the success of group learning. This relates to the before-mentioned teacher qualities and instructional pedagogies, ensuring that the collaborative learning that is being provided is concomitant with the success of students in the classroom. Under these conditions, the overwhelming voice through the literature is that collaborative learning leads to the development of improved self-efficacy for EALD students, and that there could be benefits of promoting this in the classroom. It is through this synthesis of literature that we have learned holistically what collaborative group learning consists of, and what the literature highlights as being important attributes that collaborative group learning should have. Furthermore, this information helps our group to be able to understand what the benefits of group work learning are and what the previous research has highlighted about our area of study. This information, coupled with the data analysis, positions us to be able to make an informed decision in regard to the implementation of an intervention as part of the action research cycle.
As a group, we engage in an interview and 2 survey protocols in order to ascertain information about the self-efficacy of students, examining this from different perspectives in order to garner a complete picture of the research question. The interview protocol, completed by Ben, aimed at discerning what teachers perceive as collaborative group work learning in regards to EALD students, and whether this improves self-efficacy of students, whilst Luke's survey examined ESL teacher perceptions of what works with EALD students in collaborative settings, and the impacts of this upon self-efficacy. Gilly's survey protocol examined the EALD student perspective, concentrating upon how students perceive group learning and how students perceive their self-efficacy. The first theme was that there needs to be a clear purpose in collaborative group learning for there to be a benefit on student levels of self-efficacy. Ben's interview revealed all teachers stated the importance of a clear purpose, and without this, there can be confusion in learning which will adversely impact students' self-efficacy. This is evident through the respondents in the interview who state the need for clear goals and tasks which will enable students to understand expectations and what needs to be done. Luke's survey also expressed this view as respondents noted the need for a goal to work towards in learning and that there is a benefit from providing explicit instruction and expectations of what is required in the learning. This view is reiterated in Gilly's survey, which examined group perceptions with students highlighting the need for clear goals and allowing them to be able to complete group tasks successfully. The second overarching theme that emerged through the joint data analysis is that of the need for collaborative learning to have an environment that is concomitant with its success. Through the data analysis, it is highlighted that there is a need for effective scaffolding and modelling to ensure the efficacy of collaborative learning for improving the self-efficacy of students. Through Ben's interview protocol, it is apparent that there is a need for modelling and scaffolding through which the teacher is operating as a facilitator to guide students in learning. The respondents in this interview actually stated that without this, group learning can actually be more confusing for students. Coupled with this, Luke's data raises the need for environmental provisions that will ensure the success of the group-based collaborative learning for students. This is further highlighted through Gilly's survey, which highlighted that an area of concern for student in group work was that students often felt confused due to the lack of instructional guidance from teachers. This is an issue that needs to be addressed through the data analysis in order to ensure that the learning is created in a way where students are able to succeed. In keeping with this, there is a need for group work to be integrated in a way that is meaningful, where there is consistency for how the group work is utilised. Through Ben's interviews, respondents noted that tokenistic group work for the sake of collaborative learning was not beneficial to students, as there was no clear purpose or meaningful integration of the collaborative learning in the classroom. This is reiterated through Luke's surveys, in which participants highlighted the need to use group work only when it is integrated meaningfully. This is where the true benefit of collaborative learning lies. In Luke's survey, respondents highlighted effective means of addressing this through the use of buddy systems, in which students are supported in their learning. This is repeated through Gilly's surveys, whose participants noted the benefits they received as a result with working with a consistent partner. Across all three of the protocols, it is apparent that there is a need for effective scaffolding and modelling and vicarious learning. This is important considering the fact that literature rises to the importance of meaningful collaborative learning in which to ensure that students are able to succeed. Ben's surveys revealed the need to work towards a common goal with explicit instructions, while Luke's survey revealed that a strategy through the use of modelling and learning with non-ELD students. These results are consistent with the literature which highlights the benefits of heterogeneous grouping. Thus, the findings in regard to these environmental factors highlight that EALD students benefit from working collaboratively in heterogeneous groups. The third theme was that teachers did not feel prepared or felt that there was a need for improving strategies for collaborative learning for ELAD students. Through the data, it is revealed that teachers felt the need for improvement in being able to successfully implement collaborative learning. In addition, teachers felt the need to improve upon strategies towards the teaching of ELAD students. Respondents through Luke's survey of teachers revealed that there is a perception that students benefit from increased self-efficacy as a result of group work learning. In the survey, 75% of participants believe that collaborative learning was a benefit to language learners. Interestingly, 75% of participants also stated that teaching ELAD students is an area of improvement, whilst 50% of participants felt they were adequately prepared. On the contrary, no participants in Ben's interviews highlighted their teaching as an area of improvement, although they did highlight the potential benefits of collaborative learning in respect to ELAD students. This may be attributable to some participants' perceptions that group work may lead to distractions in the classroom. This highlights the need of the before-mentioned themes which have been raised within the data to ensure that there is the presentation of on-task behaviours. Gilly's study interestingly found that some students believe that there is a need for their teachers to improve upon pedagogy to be able to teach them effectively. Hence, it is evident that the studies highlight that teacher perceptions of collaboration of ELAD students are positive. The majority of teachers feel that there is a need for improvement in respect to collaborative learning for these students.
This is pertinent considering the literature which highlights the need for successful collaborative learning in order for there to be benefits to the self-efficacy of EALD students. This will be a consideration in the design of an implementation for the classroom. In light of the literature and in respect of the data, it's necessary to consider factors in addressing the self-efficacy of EALD students in the classroom. The literature highlights that there is actually a need for focusing on the self-efficacy of EALD students. As a result of consulting with the research, it is evident that collaborative learning is beneficial and can lead to the development of personal social capabilities as well as improve academic outlook for students whilst improving self-efficacy. This is, however, contingent upon collaborative learning which utilises clear purpose to the learning, evident in meaningful integration, and there being clear instructions and modelling to ensure that students are supported. This extends to the use of scaffolding, with the teacher adopting the role of the facilitator to ensure the success of students. Furthermore, there is evidence as a result of research and engagement with literature that there is a need to equip teachers with the instructional skills to be able to align learning to EALD students.
The proposed implementation is a cyclical model of learning that is based around collaborative learning. Through this model, students will be introduced to content and will initially engage with this information in pairs, using their buddy system. This will then extend into groups, where students will work on the same information and share their thoughts in a group of 4 to 6. After sharing understandings as a part of a larger group, students will consolidate the perspectives of the group and formulate opinions individually. Students will then extend understandings through being given further information or a probing question, which will be developed as the students move back into the larger group to share the knowledge gained. Students will take this group discussion and further work on ideas in their pair, and will consolidate their understandings in relation to the learning material individually. There will be then a class discussion as a form of consolidation, and allow for groups to share their understandings as well as for individual and pairs to share their personal comprehension which has been developed. The justification of this is that students work collaboratively with an inquiry focus. The design of this system of cycling through differing forms of group work is a means of scaffolding students, supporting them through their learning. This also allows for information to be digested lots of times with increasing responsibility, meaning students are able to understand information. The use of collaborative learning in this fashion ensures students are able to develop self-efficacy as their meaningful collaborative work where students are operating together towards a shared goal. In implementing this, there is a need for equipping teachers with instructional strategies, and that is why there will be a professional learning as part of this for addressing and using best practice for EALD students to ensure that teaching is aligned with best practice, which will create the essential environment that is concomitant with success. The use of the pair system supports students in the learning throughout the class, whilst allowing for opportunities for individual thinking where learning can be visualized. The use of groups to share, both as part of a team and as an individual, allow for a smaller setting for students to share ideas, which will lead to confidence in the learning. This then reaffirms student thinking before the final whole class consolidation and presentation of ideas. This is contingent upon an environment with interdependence, which is why teacher training is a fundamental aspect of implementing this to ensure success. In implementing, there will be a pre-interview of teachers and an interview after the program has been implemented, as well as the use of artifacts from observations that the teacher will write as a reflective log during the process. This will enable for an understanding of the success of the program. Coupled with this, there will be the use of artifacts of students' work in the class and the use of survey of students and how they perceive this program in impacting upon the confidence in their learning. Ethical considerations in this will be ensuring the anonymity of student artifacts and that the relevant permissions and protocols are obtained prior to surveying of students and that there is informed consent of the teachers. This program will allow for a preliminary understanding of the research question, allowing us as teacher researchers to be able to discern whether this will lead to the development of self-efficacy for EALD students in Stage 5. In the evaluation of this implementation, this is the first cycle in the action research spiral, or spiral of inquiry, and as such, continued evaluation, consultation of literature, data collection and analysis will occur to constantly improve this program and ensure its success for EALD students.